So good afternoon, everyone. So the talk is basically for IT professionals, and we are concentrating on prevention of low back pain. The term WFH, or the work from home, is now the new normal. Some of them like to work like this. Some people like to sit on the ground and do. Some take a yogic posture. Now, some people do multitasking, and a lot of people like to sit in their sofas and work. Now, there are still a lot of people who miss their office with all the comforts of home. So, sorry for using one of your postures here, but it's not bad even if you work in any of these postures. All these postures are actually okay if it's for a shorter period of time. And let's see how or why they are okay. This is the basic anatomy that we should know to understand why it's okay. Now, I'm not going into the details, but there is something that we have to concentrate here, which is the disc or the intervertebral disc, which lies between the bones, which helps us in the movement. Now, this has no blood supply at all. It's not like other organs in our body which receive blood supply to blood vessels. They don't have blood supply. Now, if there is no blood supply, then how are they alive? Now, it's either they work with the osmotic pressure principle, where if it is straight on a relaxed position, fluid moves inside the disc along with the nutrients and minerals that it needs. And if we give pressure on the disc, then the fluid moves out, taking out the toxins which are developed by the cells in that area. So what happens is, if we sit and work for a long time, you're actually putting pressure on the disc, which takes out all the fluid inside along with the toxin, but there is no food entering the disc. So this starts causing something called discomfort or pain. So this signal goes to the brain. Now your brain tells you have to change the posture, and that's the main reason why we often keep shifting the posture from one position to the other when sitting and walking in a specific area. So this allows the disc to bulge out, or it goes back to its normal position and gets back the fluid along with the nutrients, and now it's happy. So this is a cycle which keeps happening, and changing posture that we do every time is normal. Now, this hydration and dehydration that happens as a cycle is what keeps the disc pressures normal. Now, if you see, there is something like a change in our height, which we don't notice every day. Like in the morning when we wake up, and if we measure our height, and in the evening when we sleep, or at the time of, there's usually a so there is a change in our height, which we don't notice even on a day-to-day basis. Like usually we may, if we measure, then there is a change of even up to 2 millimeters that happens. And this is not because we become shorter, it is because the fluid inside our discs go out, and this dehydration of the disc brings down this height difference. But it always comes back when we lie down and sleep at night. So it's the only abnormal and asymmetrical loading can cause trouble, and not the normal loadings or the normal kind of sitting or normal postures that we do at day-to-day life. So this is the basics of the sitting posture. Basically, like if we flex our hip, it reclines the spine backwards. This is the mid position, and if we extend our hip, the spine moves forward. So as you all understand, the mid position is what is our aim, and if we keep our spine in this position, then we can sit for a longer time. So try to sit in one of these postures most of the time. The important thing that you need to notice is when you are sitting in a chair which is quite straight, your knees should be slightly lower than your hips. And if you are sitting in a reclined posture, make sure that there is enough support in your back, and you also give some support below the knee so that there is pressure on the disc is less. We cannot have, or most of us don't have, office chairs at home. We will be using one of these common chairs which we have at home. If you see, the first one is definitely a no, and the second is okay. If you have a third one like that, it's probably good. We are not recommending chairs with handles here or the hand seat here. So what you have to look at when you are choosing a chair at home, a normal chair, is the main area of support that we are concentrating is in the mid back, not the lower back. Many of the time we have seen that people using something called lumbar support, which is actually, they think that something you have to keep in your lower back and then it will help support the spine, which is wrong. This is the point where you need to really give the support, and use a simple soft pillow to adjust to your contours. You don't have to really buy a lumbar support or anything, and this soft pillows will definitely help us to maintain the posture and support the spine. Now make sure the knee is slightly below the hip. It should not be definitely above the level of your hip. Anything less, even a 5 degrees, will help you a lot. Now move as close to the table as possible with your legs inside. Support your elbow and forearm. Always a bigger screen size is better, and if possible use a Bluetooth enabled external keyboard so that you can keep your laptop at a higher level and keyboard at a lower level, and so that your neck also will not be strained. So all these postures are okay, but for a shorter time. A change in posture is important for your spine to get its food. Now, what is an ideal sitting position? If you ask me, then an ideal sitting is now called as a dynamic sitting posture. A normal one, as you see in the first one, if we sit and go back, it supports our spine like that. But an ideal seat will actually move forward when the seat will actually move forward, and the support in the back actually goes outward and helps you to gain your slight kyphotic or a slightly bending posture, and keeps the spine in full support in every position. Our spine should not actually bend too much when we are actually going back in a seat. But this seat, it's again very difficult to get one. But if you ask me again what is ideal, then this is an ideal seating, and it's called the dynamic sitting position. And as you remember this slide, this is the only seating arrangement which can help you in all the free postures. Now, we also understand that a lot of people are not in the same city and they travel weekends to their homes, and we have this is just a slide added to tell you something about that. That many a time we have seen people trying to get sleeping coaches and all that. You really don't need a position in which you have to sleep and go home. Even if a normal good sitting a Volvo bus is enough, where the reclining angle is usually 135 degrees, it is shown that this angle in which you are going to sleep is as good as sleeping in a flat position. And even this is better because the bus is continuously moving, and this back support is better when compared to a lying down position in a moving bus. So this is just an added thing. And two things that we thought we should tell you about the lying position. If do you get to back pain when waking up in the morning, or you get back pain at the end of the day? Two things make a lot of difference. So very soft or sagging beds will bend your spine, like the one which is shown in the upper figure, and that always is a problem. And these people will not have pain when they go to bed. They go okay, but wake up in the morning with back pain or neck pain, which means that there is something wrong with the bed. And if you're going to bed with pain, then it's basically your postures that you have gone through the whole day is what is wrong. And they need to use something like a pillow below the knee. Most of the time they sleep straight, or in between the knees if they are going to sleep, most of the time in the side position. So if you go to bed pain free and wake up in the morning with pain in your neck or back, then the solution is change your bed. If you are going to bed with pain, then the solution is basically a wrong posture during the daytime, and you need to change or correct the postures. So we are here plan to show you two types of exercises, two basic things. One is to avoid pain, those who are not having pain now, but maybe if the posture is wrong and over a period of time, and if the lockdown extends and all this goes on for 2 to 3 months more, then we are in for trouble. So there is one set of exercises which we'll be showing first to avoid pain. And we have met with a few of the people who have already developed some kind of mild pains, which needs a little bit of treatment kind of exercises. So the second set we'll show you is those who have mild pains for correction of the pain itself with exercises. So Mr. Anup and Mr. Okandro are our two senior physiotherapists who will demonstrate us these exercises now. So before I conclude, I would like to thank Dr. David B. Rajan sir for giving me this opportunity, Mr. Ganeshan and the physio team who have arranged the whole wonderful meetings, and the administration staff for all the logistic supports, and Jayashree, my wife, for giving me a lot of inputs about the IT professionals. So thank you so much. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to demonstrate. Good evening, everyone. We're going to demonstrate some simple preventive-based exercises now. So we'll start with head. So we're going to start with some simple movements on the sides. So try to keep your shoulder still and then try to take your head closer, ear closer to the shoulder. We're going to do sideways movement. And then you're going to try and look down and then try to look up the ceiling straight over your head. Try not to drop your head, taking it behind, but try to look up straight. So these are preventive movements of the cervical which is available. Don't try to do any rotation or all those things. Just do simple movements. That is enough. Now we're going to do a stretch. You're going to have your hand closer to the ear. Just hold it above and use your hand strength to pull it. You're going to do on the other side. So just above the ear, get a grip and then use your hand strength to pull it. You'll be able to feel a nice stretch on the muscles of the sides. Next is, you're going to do a shoulder movement, backward rotation. So all day along, sitting on the computer, we tend to go more forward. So the requirement will be to do more of a backward rotation movement. Then we're going to do just back retraction. So just try to squeeze your shoulder blades together. One more. We're going to do a stretch. Get your hands together, hold them together, twist it inside, hold on, and push it forward. Next exercise, go to take it up and push it up nice. Get a nice stretch around the shoulder blades. Now, you're going to hold on to your hands above. You're going to do a nice side bend. The next one, we're going to go onto the wrist, forearm, hands clasped together, keep it straight. Push it on one side. Get to the other side. The next one, you just hold it on your dorsal side. And down. Now, you're going to have one leg crossed across to the other side and twist your body to the opposite side. Again, the other leg goes across. Good. The next one, you're going to see it better. So you're going to sit, hands on your hips, allow the shoulder blade to push back and extend your back to get a nice stretch. One more. And back. So these will be simple exercises which you can do during your work, in between the work also. Just take a small break on the chair itself, you can do that. So we'll do this exercises one more again. You're going to have your hands twisted in nice, clasped together, push it nice forward, feel the stretch on the shoulders. The next one, again twist and take it up nice and try to push and elongate yourself. You're going to have your hands above your head hold together. You're going to bend sideways. Hold the position there. Come back. Hands down. Go to the shoulder blades. Rotate them backwards. Good. We're going to do the stretch on the neck. The next one for the forearm. Push it nice. The other side. Go to change position. Going to do the sitting one. Get your legs cross and rotate your body to the other side. Go to sideways, hands on the hip. Going to push your shoulders and the front back. And relax. So these are exercises recommended for prevention of the back pain. Now I have Mr. Anup here. We're going to demonstrate some exercises which can help in some mild back pain. So the first exercise, you're going to lie down nice. You're going to lift one leg up. Hold it there for 5 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to bring it down. Now you're going to do the alternate leg. You're going to lift it up to about a feet or a 2. Hold it there, 5 counts. Bring it down. So we're going to do this exercise for 5 times each leg in alternate method. So the second exercise, we'll have one leg bend. Then you're going to lift the other leg to the level of the knee. Hold it there. Going to count till 5. And slowly bring it down. Going to change the leg. Going to lift them up to the level of the knee. Hold them there. Count till 5. Going to bring it down. So we're going to perform 5 repetitions on each leg in alternate ways. The third exercise, we're going to have both the legs bent. You don't need to keep the legs together, just slightly wide apart, hip distance. You're going to lift the hip up, lift it up, hold there, count till 5, and slowly bring it down. Do not drop the pelvis down. Again, you're going to lift it up, hold there, count till 5, and bring your hips down. The next exercise in the same position, you can use a pillow or a ball as we have shown here. Just place it in between your knees or the thigh. You're going to exert a pressure to press the ball using both the knees. Press it, hold it, count 5, and let go. Again, press, hold, count till 5, and relax. Now, we're going to do the last exercise. We're going to lift both the legs up, but one leg at a time. Lift it up, hold that position, count till 5, and bring it down. Again, take it up, Now, when you lift that, make sure your stomach is pulled in nice. You can hold on. Do not hold your breath. Bring it down. So these are 5 simple exercises which can be done when you have a mild pain. Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
So one of the questions was like, is it best to do once we wake up, or is it better to do when we go to bed? Definitely, no exercise we should be doing just before going to bed. We recommend you the second set of exercises, the level 1 exercises, which was done in the lying down position. The best time is to do it once when you wake up, and in the evening when you come back from work or something of that sort, or evening time. And definitely don't do any exercise after your dinner or just before going to bed. That will definitely interfere with your sleep, so that's not recommended. And the second question was about radiculopathy. If it is radiculopathy, we have to first ascertain that whether it is really radiculopathy. The present set of thought process is that if you are diagnosed with sciatica or is a typical radiculopathy pain, definitely it won't allow you to do any of these exercises, any of these lying down exercises. All those exercises which I have taught you now are for back pain, definitely not for radiculopathy. The what is recommended if I have radiculopathy is you should be doing exercises in a step pattern, which is like flexing the hip to around 90 degrees, flexing the knee to around 90 degrees again. There are certain set of exercises which you can do in this position, but you have to go to a physiotherapist and learn it. Definitely, if you are diagnosed with radiculopathy, don't do any exercise at home. And another thing is, even if you do exercise with your upper limbs, with your arm exercises, neck exercises, or the shoulder exercises, which we actually were shown in the last session, the YTML exercises, all these exercises release a lot of endorphins in our body, which also have got a very good effect on the radiculopathy. And it is shown that the amount of analgesics that you will need, or the painkillers that you have to take for reducing the radicular pain, comes down when you do these exercises itself. If your question is like specifically for radiculopathy, you have to do exercises in a step position, which is like flexing your, in a lying down position, flexing your hip to 90 degrees, flexing your knee to 90 degrees, which will come something like that. And in that position, there are certain exercises recommended, but again, you have to go to a physio and learn them.
Okay, next question. Ms. Gayatri has asked if the exercise has to be done before sleeping or
That's not clear.
That you already answered, isn't it? There's a question. So knee pain, you asked about knee pain, Alvin. Knee pain has already been discussed in the earlier meeting. If you go to the web page of Ortho 1, very soon, those exercises you can see, we can watch them in YouTube. Is lower back pain reversible? Dr. Sriram. Dr. Sriram is the spine surgeon of Ortho 1.
Is lower back pain reversible?
Yes. Lower back pain is definitely reversible.
100%.
Yeah, if we can ask more specifically, we may be able to tell you it's definitely reversible, either by physio, medicines, or even surgery, whatever. It's definitely curable.
No, the question is,
lifestyle modification.
the question is, the general public think once you have back pain, you're going to have back pain forever. That's what the question is. You can't become 100% all right. Most of the time, as Dr. Sriram said, is postural and lack of exercise. You do all them and you become all right. And you want to give your 10 minutes talk again? Can you please put your hands up if you want the talk again? Because half the talk could not be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Yeah. While you are waiting, Ganesan can come to the front, and if you can answer any other questions, please. And what about degenerative disc disease? What are the exercises? Ganesan?
Degenerative disc disease. What are the exercises?
So degenerative disc, preferably exercises avoiding weight bearing. So standing exercises can be prevented. They will need more initially only mobility based exercises rather than strengthening. So that will be the first line of management for that.
They have how to avoid back pain while driving two-wheelers.
Driving two-wheeler, usually people who tend to travel a lot inside the city. One is the choice of the two-wheeler itself and how they sit. So that's the same criteria like how you sit on a chair, how your hip and the knee distance has to be there. It should not be at a very lower angle or a too higher angle. And then how people sit on a two-wheeler. Some people sit more with their hands extended and closer. So that should be more on a position where our arms are down, elbows close to 90. So that will be the basic criteria we are looking at for two-wheeler.
There's a question, stenosis versus disc prolapse. So disc prolapse, the stenosis is all interconnected. Very often stenosis in a young person especially is because leads to disc prolapse. So here you have to investigate and get some MRI and scan done.